Hello friends, Stub from CorkAV.com here for City Magazine, wishing you a happy almost spring and an even happier St. Patrick's Day. In the March 2019 edition of the magazine, both online and in print, I provided 3 delicious beer-based recipes to help you celebrate your St. Patrick's Day perfectly. Hey, there's some beer suggestions in there too. All right, today we're making a beer cheese dip, except it's Guinness beer cheese dip. I mean, beer cheese dip is awesome, and we often think of that more as a German dish, I would say. So we have our saucepan here, got it preheating. We're adding our butter to make a little bit of a roux. Now, I love making this dip. This beer cheese dip goes well with, it would go well with a pretzel, as you typically would. Today, later on, once we're done, we'll be serving it with, of course, my Guinness beer bread. How interesting. So we're just gonna melt this butter down. And as it's almost melted, we're gonna add our salt and our pepper. Stir that around a bit. And now we're gonna add our flour. Now I know the recipe I said 1 to 2 tablespoons. I have about 1.5 tablespoons here, and I'm gonna add this very slowly. What I've found trying to perfect this dip with this little bit of roux, it helps it hold together a little bit better by creating a roux with the flour. If you put too much in there, however, as it cools, it'll get a little bit heavier and a little bit cloying. So I like to make just a nice thick roux, and you see this is just a nice peppery roux just on the base here. I think that's all the flour I'm gonna add today. So I added about 1/2 tablespoon. Once again, you can wing this one just a little bit. All right, you see our roux is a little bit incorporated here. We're going to go ahead now and add our 1 can of Guinness Stout. Now I love using Guinness for this. It gives it this cheese dip a nice malty, smoky flavor once we cook it down. So there's our beer, and we're going to stir fairly constantly until this comes to a simmer. Cooking with beer is always fun, even whether it's in the pan or in the glass, and bringing this kind of beer roux mixture to a slight simmer is giving me just enough time to pour another beverage. All right, so you see we're to a slight simmer here. Next, we are going to add, you can add slowly or all at once, our cheddar cheese. And then, of course, our cream cheese. Now, I love using cream cheese in this recipe. It just adds a nice little tang that you normally wouldn't have in there. And I think that it complements the malty smokiness of the Guinness very well. Now, once you add your cheeses here, friends, we're gonna stir this pretty much constantly to ensure an even melt. All right, friends, you see we've got a pretty well incorporated the cheese and the beer, getting a nice thick consistency. Once again, I remind you on the making of the roux, if you want a little thicker dip, go ahead and add a little more flour. That's why I said 1 to 2 tablespoons. If you use 1 or a little half, you're gonna get a little bit of a soupier dip. 1 1/2 or so, you're gonna get a little bit of a thicker dip. All right, so I'm happy with this consistency right here. So we're gonna go ahead and bring this over for service. Now, the way I like to serve this, you see I have a bowl waiting to go for the dip. And we're just gonna pour this in. What I don't like about this personally, as someone who cooks, is the color of it, but man, doesn't this, it just smells delicious. So what I have here is little triangles of the homemade Guinness beer bread that I also featured in my article this month, which is a great addition for this dip. But I also have interspersed in there Guinness potato chips, both delicious with this dip. Now, we're nothing if not thorough here. So what I've also done is when I made my Guinness beer bread, I made little Guinness muffins. And if you watch the bread video, this is more of a cake batter than a bread dough when you make this Guinness beer bread. But I went ahead and made basically large muffins in a cake form. And then I cut them out to make a little bit of a cheese bowl so we can serve our Guinness bread, or Guinness beer cheese, right in the middle of our Guinness beer bread. And once again, I have triangles of the same bread and these delicious Guinness chips available in your grocery store to put in there. Delicious. All right, friends, thanks for joining me. Thanks for reading the articles this month. Try these recipes. Let me know what you think of them. Let us know what you think of the recipes. Let us know if you make any changes. how the beer pairings go. Also featured 3 great beers that aren't Guinness for St. Patrick's Day. Try those out if you can. Once again, thanks for joining. Until next time, be safe, be happy, and be nice. Cheers.